What is going on, everybody? My name is Jacob. I have been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003, and I am eager to see this team getting back to playing winning basketball. In today's video, we are going to quickly go over the newest signing of the Detroit Pistons, Malik Beasley. I'm going to talk about why I think this helps the team, why I think this was a good signing overall, and towards the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what my favorite part of the signing is. Now, before we get on to it, make sure you guys are subscribed. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, trying to hit that as soon as possible. So, Malik Beasley just signed with the Detroit Pistons for a one-year contract for $6 million. Now, overall, I'm pretty shocked at the price tag for this. I understand how these deals work. It's a one-year prove-it deal where realistically what he's looking for is probably a bigger role offensively potentially than what he had in Milwaukee, and just an opportunity to show teams that he's worth long-term money next offseason, whether that's the Pistons or someone else. So when you're really breaking this down, the Pistons had $26 million in cap space for this upcoming season before signing Malik Beasley this morning. But that's pretty awesome because that brings us to $20 million to still spend, and that's a lot of money to use. So realistically, I made a video this morning about how the Pistons could potentially sign Beasley, or they could go ahead and trade for one of the Kings players, whether that be Harrison Barnes or Kevin Huerter, to take on bad money and gain assets. I did not think it was a possibility that they could do both of those things, but they definitely can. So now that $6 million is gone from the $26 million that we had for next year's cap, that still gives us enough room to potentially take on Kevin Huerter or Harrison Barnes in that three-team DeMar DeRozan deal that is rumored. And we'd still be under the cap after adding those guys. Now, realistically, with the way that Malik Beasley plays, his role, etc., I think Harrison Barnes is the more likely suitor for that now, just because there is a lot of overlap with Kevin Huerter and Malik Beasley, not to mention that we also signed Tim Hardaway Jr. this offseason. So right now, if I had to pick my poison between those two, I would take Harrison Barnes. How do I think Malik Beasley will fit into the Pistons lineup in rotation? I made a video recently going over who I thought would be the projected starting five for the Pistons next year, and in that video, my starting lineup was Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Simone Fontecchio, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren. But now that Malik Beasley's here, I'm going to have to reflect and rethink about that lineup, because there is a real possibility that now we could potentially go something more along the lines of Cade at the 1, Malik Beasley at the 2, Asar at the 3, Tobias at the 4, and Duren at the 5, with the bench being Jaden Ivey running the point, and then have like Tim Hardaway Jr. at the 2, Simone Fontecchio at the 3, something like that. There's a lot of different things we can do now. Overall, I'm pretty excited for this. He's been a pretty good player for quite a long time now. He was asked to do a lot more defending with the Milwaukee Bucks last year than I would like him to do. He had a lot of games where he had to take on the team's best player just because Dame is obviously a defensive liability in the backcourt there. So if we're looking at Malik Beasley's stats over the past couple of years, last year he averaged 11 points per game with the Milwaukee Bucks, shooting 44% from the field, 41% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. So we're definitely adding some shooting here. If you go back and look at his previous years before last, the year before last, he bounced around a little bit playing for Utah and the Lakers. The year before that, he was with the Minnesota Timberwolves for 3 years. He saw his best year statistically in the 2020-2021 season when he was 24 years old. Despite only playing 37 games, he was averaging nearly 20 points in those games before kind of coming back down to earth the next season, where he was at that 12-13 point range where he's typically hung out for the past 5 years. Overall, I'm really excited for this signing. I did not think that we would have the opportunity to get a player that is as decent as Malik Beasley for $6 million for 1 year. He can help right away. And honestly, that's a really, really good contract for him considering our circumstances. Not that often do we see players come here on any type of discount or any type of prove-it deal. So this is something kind of shocking to me. Right now, I'm looking back at his contracts from the previous years, and this dude, when he was with the Timberwolves, was making like 13, 14, $15 million a year. Last year, of course, with the Bucks, he did only make $2 million. But either way, That's super cheap for someone his caliber. I'm shocked. I can't believe that there's a chance that we can get Beasley and then still have $20 million of cap. I think this definitely rules out the possibility of Gary Trent Jr. coming out here. Um, I think if there's anybody else that we would sign at this point, it would probably be like a backup big, but there's not that many of those guys left on the market. So curious to see what they do. Maybe they'll look to take a salary dump from somebody else that isn't the Kings. Maybe they'll be more interested in taking a salary dump from a guy who's a big. I don't really know what's going to happen now, but either way, we did get some news. Malik Beasley is a Piston, and I'm super excited to see what he can do with the team going forward. I'll catch y'all soon.